Wow, what a terrible stink. This week it was reported that over half of those applying to ISIS applied to be suicide bombers, as if their goal in life, the purpose, what they hope to be when they grow up, was to die, to take others out with them. The goal of the Christian faith is not simply to die, but that there is life beyond death. There's hope and purpose. There's a reason for living that is more than what death is about. That death is an end, but it's also the opening to eternal life, in love and forgiveness and memory, to live with God forevermore. Reminds me of a story from the Gospel according to John, there in the 12th chapter. Lazarus had died, a good friend of Jesus, and he'd called him back from the dead. But with that, the decaying corpse and all those who'd come to see the dead body had created a terrible stench in the house. And Mary, who loved Jesus and loved her brother Lazarus, did the most unthinkable of things. She opened up a costly perfume, and she anointed Jesus with it. Not his head as you would do a king, but his feet, as you would do for one who had died. And then she rubbed it with her own hair, a personal, intimate act, letting down her hair and rubbing his feet with it, so that she would have the scent of the perfume, the scent of his death, and the scent of him on her ever after. According to researchers at Notre Dame University, there is, and always has been, 1% of the population that have had the great bulk of the wealth and power. And there have been a large percentage of the population who lived in subsistence, getting by from day to day to day. They were farmers, they were shopkeepers, they were fishermen, who were taxed heavily, and everything that they owned was invested in their business. Their goal was not a portfolio, their goal was not a 401k or a 503b, but their goal was simply to survive and to provide for their family for one more day. This was not the poor. The poor were another 15% of the population who were the untouchables, the prostitutes, the sinners, the criminals. The difference between the poor and those who were subsistence is that the poor had no one to rely on, no family, no friends, no community. They were isolated and dependent on the handouts of others, whereas those sustaining their life worked every day, accumulated nothing, had no stockpile, but they did have community. They did have people who were caring. The difficulty of our society today is, as we have moved more and more into focusing on our retirement rather than on caring for one another, we become more isolated. We become more focused on death and dying and having no hope. So it is that we have moved the bulk of our population into being the poor, who have no support system, who have no compassion, no caring, no connection, no family or friends. Jesus described, as is said in Deuteronomy, the poor you will always have with you. The difficulty is that increasingly we are more and more poor. It is a great stink in our generation. Let us hope and believe in Mary's faith that there is life beyond life evermore.